This is an NBC News Now special presentation, sponsored by Aura. This is Digital Parenting, Raising the AI Generation. Here now, Kate Snow and Savannah Sellers.
Hello and welcome to our town hall on parenting in the digital world. We're coming to you from Studio 8H here at Rockefeller Center.
That is right. Over the next hour, we are going to explore how families are navigating the AI age.
Technology is changing faster than kids and parents can keep up, right? It can be overwhelming. We're going to speak with leading experts today about how all of it affects our families, what conversations we need to have with each other.
And we have our audience here. It's filled with parents, teachers, and kids who will be asking their questions right to our panelists.
Before we get going, we want to thank our sponsor, Aura, the creators behind Digital Parenthood, an online resource that brings experts together to provide support to parents raising children in this often challenging and confusing digital environment.
We're going to get started with the results of our new survey on families' attitudes about AI. Here's CNBC's Julia Borston.
As generative AI has burst onto the scene with the introduction of ChatGPT and a wide range of competing chatbots, it's being used by companies and consumers in a range of ways. But new technology like this doesn't come without risks. Even the CEO of Microsoft has his concerns.
One of the existential risks people talk about in AI is, what if AI is so powerful that it's not in human control? That obviously is an existential issue for us.
And as parents grapple with how to monitor their children's use of mobile devices, the internet, and social media, now they're also forced to figure out how AI could impact their kids.
If unchecked AI is just going to go the same way that social media is gone, it's just going to be disaster, only on a larger scale.
Parents are worried. In a CNBC survey conducted with Generation Lab, 3/4 of parents say they are somewhat or extremely concerned about AI's impact on their kids. And the new technology is still foreign for most families. 56% say their families rarely or never use AI tools, while 34% use them a couple of times per week.
I think it's important that parents realize how our addiction to media and smartphones and social media and AI is creating a chaotic, unhealthy information environment for their kids.
While artificial intelligence brings risks for parents to consider, new technology also offers opportunity, including new apps that use AI to assist parents. One of them, called Ojai, is an AI-powered scheduling assistant to help families manage their household calendar, to-do lists, and keep up on school emails. The CEO and founder of advocacy group Moms First, Reshma Sojani, created an AI-powered tool to help families understand their paid leave eligibility, to prevent parents from unnecessarily rushing back to work after a baby is born.
There are risk and safety concerns with AI that parents need to be concerned with. But it's also not going anywhere. So I'm really encouraging people to think about aspirational AI. How can AI be used to make the world a better place? How can AI be used to put money in the hands of parents?
For now, parents are split on the question of whether AI is a force for good. Our survey found 51% of parents think there are more risks associated with the technology, while 49% believe there are more benefits.
To talk more about artificial intelligence and its impact on digital parenting, let's bring in our experts now. Sinead Bovell is a futurist, entrepreneur, and the founder of tech education company Way, spelled W-A-Y-E. Dr. Jenny Radeski is here. She's a media researcher and the director of developmental behavioral pediatrics at the University of Michigan Medical School. Also with us is Merv Lapus. He is the vice president of outreach and engagement at the nonprofit organization Common Sense Media.
Great to have you all with us. Thank you so much for joining for such an important conversation. Sinead, I'll start with you because in surveying our audience and surveying families on this, we just really kind of wanted to get a baseline understanding of what do people want to know. And a lot of people actually said very simply and very honestly, just, I need to know everything. So let's just kind of start with the basics because we hear a lot of different terms. Generative AI. I liked one we just heard there, aspirational AI. What does this all mean?
Right, so there are many different types of AI systems that parents and kids would be interacting with. So generative AI would be AI systems that can generate new content that's in many ways indistinguishable from human-generated content. So whether that's text-based things like a story or an essay, that could be music, that could be different audio sounds or short video clips. But then there's also AI like recommendation algorithms. So these are AI systems that recommend you content, whether you're streaming something on a streaming platform or you're on social media, AI systems that make decisions about you and what they want to show you. And then you have things like natural language processing. So if there's an Amazon Alexa in your house or you're using a Siri, these are AI systems that help process and understand human language and interact back with you.
People keep saying generative AI. That's the one that's sort of almost thinking on its own or learning as it goes. Is that right?
They all kind of learn on the fly, but with generative AI, why it's actually gone so viral is because these AI systems are so easy to use and to co-create with. The barrier to working with a system like ChatGPT is natural language. You ask it a question the same way you would ask a friend in a group chat, and that's why it's just kind of taken off. But AI has been all around us. People say AI is coming. AI is here, and it's been here for almost half a decade in our daily lives.
Fair point. Dr. Radesky, you study kind of the intersection between technology and development, human development. So what are your concerns from that standpoint about the way children are developing with AI integrated into everyday life?
Yeah, and there's a few concerns. One is with the automated decision making. So kids are interacting with automated recommendation feeds on so many different platforms. It's kind of taking away some of the decision making and recommending things that sometimes are meeting the needs of the platform. So we just published a study last week showing that on a very popular video sharing platform, if you type in things that are very popular with a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old, like Roblox, you wind up getting this whole recommendations feed filled with things competing for your attention. Things that are sexy and dramatic and violent and kind of over the top. And that's because that algorithm is optimized for engagement, click-throughs and viewing. It's not optimized for children's well-being. So it really matters how you're training that algorithm and who's checking in to make sure it's serving kids the right things. The other concern is with, only being able to chat through language with a platform. Kids have very different ways that they conceptualize these artificial agents. I once asked my 6-year-old who Siri was, and he said, she's a nice woman who lives in California who answers our questions, okay? Like, they really think that these things are alive. When they've done studies on kids and robots or virtual assistants, they think very differently and they trust.
Because developmentally, they're not there yet.
Exactly. But that definitely brings up concerns about your emotional attachment that can start to be there, especially with younger people. Merv, I know that you work with people in different types of positions of leadership at schools across the country. Is there anything that can be being done on those campuses and classrooms to get ahead of some of these issues, maybe in a way that we didn't do so well with social media?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the past 2 years have been kind of the crux of that conversation for school administrators and district leadership, where they're, in hindsight, really looking at the effect of media and technology, but especially social media in the classroom and in their school communities. So there's been a lot of focus in really wanting to address kind of what is this and what does this look like in the classroom. And at first we take it in with a real critical eye because obviously our kids spend the most time in school, and also this has implications then with instruction as well as the way that our kids are going to be learning. So we do want to make sure that we're kind of measuring it and getting a sense of, is this the same as when televisions and smart boards came in, or is it a little different? And the reality is districts currently right now are currently at the place where they're looking at two main things. One is AI literacy. So how do we really make sure that our educators know what generative AI is versus the other types of AI that are out there? And how are we providing instruction to our kids so that they are thinking critically, behaving safely, and really interacting more responsibly with the media and tech that they're providing them that access to? And then we're also looking at policy. Reality is most administrators and district leaders are still combating, like, what are the policies we're going to have in place? We're waiting on our local leadership, federal government, and others to help give us that guidance, when the reality is we already have policies in place around PII, personal identifiable information, where can it be shared, where can't it be shared, privacy, looking at responsible use of tech. But now we need to really then look at it through the lens of, because this generative AI allows us to do X, how does that field into our policies that we have in place and then impact our school communities?
Sinead, there are positive uses of AI, right? In the classroom, for example, I just shot a story that's going to air soon that's about something called Quill that teachers of English are using for reading and writing, and the AI can go so fast that the teacher is saved time because the AI is kind of helping teach the kids punctuation and grammar. What should parents be talking about now with their kids, and what should kids be talking about with their parents when it comes to AI? How do we start that conversation?
Yeah, I think, and it's a really important one. And I actually don't think there's an age that's too young to start this conversation, because AI is really all around them. So I think first and foremost, kids need to know that AI isn't your friend. It's a tool. And these systems are going to seem more and more human-like the more advanced and sophisticated they get. But a tool is very different than a human person. So a tool we use to answer our questions, it can be a creative partner, it can help us understand the world, but we don't divulge secrets to an AI system. And there's also things we do in our life that don't involve AI, that it's not appropriate to bring this tool. And we also, I think, want to get kids thinking about the decision AI makes about them. So if you're watching something on a streaming platform, ask, when you kind of explain, an AI system has suggested this show to you. Why do you think it made that decision? And the child, even if they're 4 or 5, might say, well, because we watched a show about, Finding Nemo, and so it makes sense that they're recommending another fish show. So getting kids to think critically about how and why artificial intelligence is making decisions about them. That's where I would recommend you start. And I don't think that there's an age that it's too young to have that sort of a conversation.
That's a really smart way to go about it. I want to tell everybody something kind of crazy, especially speaking of generative AI. All these images around the studio right now, they were created using AI, just to give you a little bit of an idea of how it can actually create content. And that's going to tie in to an audience question that we have from somebody who came here today. Hi there.
Hi, my name is Annabelle. So I'm 26, and I didn't grow up around this level of technology. So I'm just curious how kids today, growing up with and going to school around AI, will be taught how to differentiate between what's real and what isn't.
Oh, that is a great question.
Dr. Radesky, you want to take that?
So I really think starting at a young age, it's important to be talking to kids about what you're seeing on the screen. Who made that? Why did they make it? Did they make it to make us laugh, to tell us a good story, or to be rude to someone else, right? That's part of media literacy, is understanding who's behind the screen and who created that. That's step one. And then also talk about when you are seeing things on your favorite platforms, some of them are already created by AI. Can they spot that? Can they find, I'm sure there's, ways to search for either songs or images that have been generated by AI. Take a look at those together with your kids. I say, sit down and listen to a song played by your favorite musical artist, and listen to a song made by AI. What sounds different? What is missing? Where's the human part that's really missing from what AI has generated? Ask AI to tell you a story. Ask your grandpa to tell you a story. What's the difference that's missing there? And I think that's one way to help teach kids a little bit of that difference.
It's really good.
I can add, and I think it's important to recognize this is the worst artificial intelligence will ever be. So right now we can maybe detect there might be 7 fingers, or maybe it has multicolored eyes or something. But going forward, we can't count on the human brain to beat a supercomputer. So instead, I think we need to teach kids to think critically about the entire information ecosystem, regardless of what content they come across. Who did share this content, as you had mentioned? What do you think the narrative was behind this content? And the flip side of that is teaching kids at a young age to be ethical AI users themselves. So when they use AI to write a story, that they sign their name, but also co-created by AI. We get them thinking about the ethics at a very young age, because these are the AI creators of the future. So get them to think critically about what they see, read, and create.
Is it even okay to use AI to help write your story? I mean, that's, as a parent, that's a question that I have.
I mean, I think that was the biggest fear when it came into education, was the academic integrity behind it all. But I think it's what are we measuring? What are we trying to measure in terms of what our kids are learning and what we hope to get out of that instructional value? And in many ways, if they do understand the flow of how to create a writing piece already, and we know we've done that, especially coming to high school level, then using AI to help you kind of give you a clean slate on something new where you're experiencing writer's block, you've saved hours of stress, and now you can actually work off of it now through my own words, right? Oh, I know what they got wrong here. Oh, this is actually false information. Let me correct that. And actually can provide an opportunity for our kids to think more critically about the information they're receiving, and knowing that, okay, this is biased, this is actually not factual, here's the real information. Okay, now I get a sense of where I can actually add more value in a way that maybe I couldn't get 15 minutes ago.
Dr. Radesky, how does AI and what we're seeing intersect with mental health?
Well, AI is based on data, and whenever we put in a search term or ask a question or click on something or like something, that is data that reveals something about our psyche, right? It could reveal whether we don't like our body size and we're searching for, things that relate to diets and fitness. It may reveal that we're in a bad mood, or what our personality is, or how impulsive we are, that we click right away. All of this can profile us to a degree and understand some of our vulnerabilities. And that's what advocates have been really worried about, is that as a pediatrician, if I see a child, or as an educator, if you see a child who is struggling with some sort of vulnerability, you just want to help support them and grow and build some skills and have a really supportive environment around them. You don't want to take advantage of it. And that's what we're worried about, is that either an AI that doesn't know it's taking advantage of a child or sending them something wrong or false or manipulative, that can lead to worse outcomes for kids who are already struggling.
Yeah. I want to go to another audience question here in the room. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Hillary. I have a 15-year-old, a freshman in high school, so a parent question. How do we guide our teens in deciding how much to share online, and how do they understand their digital footprint and the long-standing impact of their digital footprint?
Merv, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, sure. So, that is a heavy cross to bear for parents. And I say that as a way of also for myself to remember, one, communication and conversation. These shouldn't be things we talk about only when things are bad. We should be talking about this daily. It should be active conversation so that when something does go awry or something feels uncomfortable, they know that they can come to you and you're not just going to kind of be either dismissive or overreact. That's actually the O section. But before then, there is the R, which is rings of responsibility. Have an active discussion that when you make a decision online, it affects you first. How does this affect you? How does this affect your friends and family? And how could this affect my entire community? Taking that pause and really taking stock of, do I really want this out there if it goes further than I intended, is something to really be thoughtful about. And then we're really then looking at how do we make sure that we're not overreacting? If oftentimes as a parent, the first thing you want to do is take them away or completely cut it off. In some cases, that is the thing to do, depending on the severity of it. But the reality is, if that's the only way you react and it's very punitive, then they'll always associate that kind of parenting or caregiving side of oh, I'm not going to talk to them about this. They just don't understand. And they're always taking it away. And then lastly is look for, unfortunately, some of the symptoms. The reality is online life and offline life are intermingling so much as part of just life. And so when things are going off a little bit online, you'll start to see that even in the physical space. And so being very thoughtful and just, genuinely wanting to get a sense of how are you feeling? How does this make you feel? What can I do? And not doing it in a way where you're trying to get them for something, but really be supportive in nature.
What a fantastic conversation and an incredible panel. Merv Lapus, Dr. Jenny Brodesky, and Sinead Bovell, thank you very much for joining us for such an important conversation.
NBC News, by the way, did reach out to OpenAI for a statement. A spokesperson said, "We care deeply about the safety of everyone who uses our tools, including young people, which is why we've built strong guardrails and safety measures into ChatGPT and DALL-E."
We also reached out to Roblox. A spokesperson told us they are committed to protecting children online. They said, "This is why we have a safety-first culture and continue to invest in robust tools and partnerships to keep kids safe on our platform." Parents can visit roblox.com/family center for helpful resources and tools. Well, another big topic for teens, how AI can impact relationships with their classmates and why parents should pay attention. We will dig into that up next.
This NBC News Now special town hall is sponsored by Aura, a leader in family online safety.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.